So here we are for another exciting interview podcast with a man, Joe Keys, currently at Super League side Bradford. Was that a surprise to you going up to Super League so quickly?
Yeah, it was, to be fair, yeah. Obviously, things didn't go to plan back end of last year. I know it's all been a bit up in the air for everyone with who's going up and who's not, and it's not really all performance based, etc. So it's a bit of a crazy time, but yeah, just back in full time now, back in Super League, which is exciting.
Lovely. Well, thanks for joining us, Keys. It's good to get you on. I know sorting the time out has been nice and fun. But
yeah, we're two busy men. We're busy men, aren't we?
Yeah, this is it. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
How's Heist going? So your recovery centre, is that going well?
Yeah, it's going really well, thanks. Yeah, picking up each month. Busy. Got a few exciting things in the pipeline as well. So yeah, it's all good.
Any sneak peeks? What you got in the pipeline?
No, I can't disclose on here. There's no exclusives here today, I'm afraid.
So we're going to dive into a lot about the mindset of injury, what you go through day to day injury wise just after it happened, and things like that. As we have been doing in previous podcasts and getting people's different perspectives. We've had quite a few different things get said when regards to injuries, pre-match prep, and getting back to playing sport. Some players love it. Some players have been a little bit apprehensive. But before we dive into that, we want to know where Mr. Keys is from. I know he's not from the M62 corridor, where a lot of rugby league players are from. But what's your first experience with rugby, Joe? Where did you grow up?
So I was born in North London, in Enfield, and I grew up in Hertfordshire, so just outside London. And my first rugby league experience, I used to go and watch when I was about 3. I think my dad used to take me to watch the Broncos back in the early 2000s, or late 90s, early 2000s.
Nice.
I was mascot, and just fell in love with the game then. And sort of played amateur around. My dad had to start a team because we didn't have any teams near where we were. We joined the London League. There's about 6 or 7 teams in that, just travelling all around London. Played a bit of union in the winter, but heart was always in league. And then ended up coming through at the Broncos.
Nice. So I didn't actually know that. So John actually started a team for you to play in?
Yeah, Redbridge Raiders it was called, because there wasn't any local team, so we started that little team. The rugby union team I played for, it was just all them lads. In the summer, we just started playing rugby league under this new team, and then I played for a team called Brentwood after that. That was the closest
did
other team.
Join you from, obviously, the players from Union? Did any of them prefer playing league, or were they, a lot of them stick to Union?
Yeah, I think they all enjoyed it. Yeah, it was pretty new to everyone down there. Obviously, I'm playing rugby union for Romford and Wanstead, so it's not very. They're not the rugby league heartlands like up here. But people enjoyed it, and it was nice, obviously, to keep doing both all year round, like winter union and then league in summer.
What were your first point when you actually came up north then? What year did you come up here?
2016, I actually moved up. I signed for Bradford halfway through 2016. So
was that when you got down to League One? Or was that when they came?
No, they were in Championship still then. It was just before all the financial stuff, when they went into admin and stuff, just before then. So I was full-time there when I first came up, and then went Championship, League One, back in Championship, and now hopefully I get an opportunity to play in Super League for him, which would be cool.
Yeah, which it sounds good. I can't wait for this season to get underway, especially with a lot more teams in there. How's pre-season prep been? Tough one? Any issues, or are you going in there pretty fresh?
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been good. Pitch is obviously quite heavy at the moment, so it's just looking after, doing a bit extra pre-ab, rehab-wise, trying to stay on top of everything, and getting back used to being full-time again. Obviously, the intensity's gone up a level, and the sort of load on the body, so just trying to stay on top of it's become even more important.
Lovely. And at least you've got a recovery centre there to help you out.
Yeah, I've got no excuses now.
Yeah, perfect. Well, it's good to hear a bit of that background. There's a few things there, Joe, I didn't even know, and obviously I know you, so it's great to know.
Fantastic. Yeah, good.
Want to dive into injury side then? What is your, I won't say your first major injury? We spoke about it off camera. What's the worst injury that you've had that's kind of shook you?
Probably my pec major tear. So that was in 2023. We're playing against St Helens in the Challenge Cup, and it was in the first 5 minutes. You were actually physio for that game, and it was the first few minutes, and just ripped straight off the bone. We didn't really know at first. Obviously, we had our suspicions, but if you remember, my bicep went black, didn't it? And the bleeding went down, and we needed to get a proper opinion. So I'd say, and obviously that required surgery. So that was my most recent serious injury that's required surgery. So I'll go with that one. Yeah.
What were the feeling? Obviously, I was there when it happened, and I know you looked at me and said, "It's gone, it's gone." And obviously, we got you off the pitch. What was going through your mind at the time when it first happened? Was there intense pain, or was it just more shock?
Yeah, I don't think it really hurt. It was more just a feeling like something bad had happened. It wasn't a case of it being really painful. And I think obviously a big game, massive crowd at the Shea against St Helens, like adrenaline was obviously rushing
Yeah,
through me.
yeah,
Initially, it was probably just a frustrated feeling because obviously I knew something wasn't right and a big occasion. And the lads had a really good dig as well, which made it a bit harder to watch the rest of the 75 minutes after. But yeah, I wouldn't say it was pain, more just shock. And I feel like with your body, you just know when it's something bad. I think I just knew that it was, it was quite serious.
So when obviously you come off after 5 minutes, if I remember rightly, we got the game ready set up. A game ready, if anybody doesn't know, is a very, very posh ice machine, which we had over his shoulder covering his pec. What was going through your head there? I know because you sat with your own thoughts there. Obviously, no one is really, I'm not saying not paying attention to you, but you sat on the bench there in your own thoughts. Is there anything going through your head there? Or is it basically, I'm just watching the lads here?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of frustration. Obviously, you want to be out there, and then it's just the not knowing. I think initially it's just the you want to have a scan and see a specialist all within an hour of it happening, so you know where you're at. It's just the wondering what has actually gone on and how severe it's going to be. And I think before that injury, I'd probably had the longest stretch of my career injury free. I'd probably done 18 months without anything serious happening, so it was a bit frustrating in that sense. It was like I knew it was going to be a bit of a setback going through my head. It was probably all the things that go through your head when you've had a few injuries in the past, like, oh, people are going to think I'm always injured. This is just another thing. It's another setback, especially after the way I was playing around that time, just sort of picking up form again that year. A lot of questions come into the mind, but obviously it's really important just to remain still up there and try and keep calm and wait until you have sort of definite answers before you jump to any conclusions.
Yeah. Well, it was for me, assessing it, there's quite a few differential diagnostics that it could have been. The bruising down your arm was quite substantial, so we knew something major had gone on.
Yeah,
Obviously, you knew that within yourself as a therapist. We have to not to take things at face value, but I always tried to look on the side of not fear the worst first. But obviously, when the bruising came out, did I come to see you the day after at your house?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think I
Yeah,
came.
yeah,
Yeah, and we had a look there, and it was very, very. The bruising was all the way down your bicep. Um, Now to which we thought there was a bicep tear to begin with.
yeah. Because there was the
Obviously,
dent as well, wasn't there? The dent in the
yeah,
top of my bicep as well.
yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, the pec obviously does come across the front of the chest, but it also attaches just in and around the bicep, just a little bit higher up than midpoint. So there was a massive indent there. Obviously, we've sent you for a scan. You've seen Mr. Len Funk. Hopefully, we're going to get him on one of these podcasts. Ideally after you, which would be a good. Spoke to you
That'd
off
be
camera
cool.
about a perspective of the person who did the surgery. You
Yeah,
found out you fully tore your pec off the bone, and it's going to require surgery. What's going through your mind there? It's not the first surgery you've had. You've had your ankle done, haven't you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the first surgery. You've got a little bit of experience there, but what's going through your head with, right, I'm having some major surgery here, they're going to have to reattach. And then you've got to kind of switch your mindset to right, it's going to be a long rehab, this.
Yeah, I think obviously the first stage is just wanting to get the surgery done, so you can every sort of day that goes by waiting for surgery is quite frustrating, and you just want to get it done so you can. So there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, so you can put a bit of a plan together and then have something to work towards. So the few days pre-surgery obviously quite stressful because you just want to get it done and get cracking. I think for me, it was like I said before, the more frustrating because just started playing all right, picking up a bit of form, and it was a big setback. And obviously, it's quite a lengthy one as well. Was it? I think it's 12 weeks,
Yeah.
12 to 14 weeks. Yeah, it was frustrating, and also obviously we had the frustration of the lads were in a semi-final to potentially go to Wembley. So there was sort of a few discussions had early on. Am I going to be able to be back in time for the final if we get there? Which sort of added into the mix of the frustration of just wanting to get cracking as quick as possible, really.
So when you've had surgery, if I remember rightly, this one there was a little bit of an issue around surgery, wasn't there? You was I won't throw anything out there, but it was touch and go whether he was going to have surgery on that day.
Yeah, we were probably an hour away from it not happening. Not when I was in the car on the way to the doctors. Yeah, but
Yeah, that's got to be
eventually
frustrating.
it got sorted. Yeah, it got
Yeah.
sorted, which is the main thing.
Okay, so you've had the surgery by probably one of the leading shoulder specialists in the country. Did he set any expectations for you of what would happen, recovery times, any issues that you may have in the future? Was any of that set?
Yeah, he's obviously spoke about what the usual protocol was for people. Obviously, I knew I was in great hands for being one of the leading shoulder specialists. I'd heard so many people had spoken to me about that they'd had surgery that he'd completed on them, and everything was fine, and they were back to normal, etc. So I think more me and you spoke about like the potential strength side of things, like the deficit and stuff, and that being a big part of having to get back like the movement. I'm pretty sure the movement was back really quick. And I remember Leonard was really happy when we went in that like 2 weeks post surgery, and I was out the sling and had nearly full range of motion back. That was positive, but then obviously when you get the weights in your hands and realize how much your strength's decreased, it's quite eye opening. Yeah, no, I think he set the expectation. It's pretty realistic. I think he said 12 weeks is usually the standard turnaround time for pec surgery, which unfortunately was a week after Wembley.
Yes. Well, that's it. We set a target, didn't we? I know we set a target of potentially aiming for a game in around that area or semi-final.
Yeah.
I always think it's important to have something to aim for. Which, how did you view the rehab plan that we set? Is basically what I'm after. Did you like the little small stages that you needed to hit? Was it frustrating? Obviously, it's going to be frustrating injured. But could you see the small little wins that you were getting week in, week out?
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing is having like a lot of short term goals within your big goal. Obviously, the main goal is to get back in a certain time frame, but then having different sort of markers to hit each week really helps break up the process, and it gives you something to aim towards each week. So, for instance, getting the full range of motion back as quick as possible, and then it's building up your strength and being put in these different positions, and then the wrestling and contact and building up like that. Like each block that you hit is really it makes it feel like you're making progress and gives you something to keep striving towards. So yeah, I think the way we sort of broke it down into, I think we did it in like 2 week increments, was like, right, by the end of this week we need to hit this, and we just sort of worked together on it, and it was good.
Yeah, I think we have to mention a little note of Scott Griggs there, because I think Scott Griggs was the conditioner at the time, and he doesn't let anything slide either. And I was happy having him in the background, that because there's going to be times where is it safe to progress and things like that, but I know he had you working hard in and around your rehab as well to make sure that deficit was reduced. So
Yeah,
it was good to have him in the background.
yeah, definitely. It all ties in, doesn't it? Yeah.
So rehab itself, it's not always smooth. Were there any times through that rehab where you were thinking, I'm fed up with this? Like I just
Well,
wish
the
this
lads
wasn't
started
here.
calling me Lance Armstrong because I just sat on a watt bike for the first 4 weeks or whatever it was. So that weren't fun. A few horrible sessions on there, but I don't think so. I think sort of got my head around the fact that it was going to be a longer process with this one. It's not just a couple of weeks and it's fixed sort of things. I think the most frustrating thing was like I was out of the slinging really quick and had full range of motion, and I was running. So I think like once I started running again, I was like, I'm fine here. There's nothing wrong because I was able to do so much. But it was the building up the strength and the tolerance and stuff to it that made the big difference. So I'd say it was just like little frustrating moments. Like we didn't really have any setbacks in terms of like, oh, we're gonna have to slow down or stop. Everything sort of went to plan. I do remember though, I got you to book me in again to go and see Leonard after the first week because I was looking after the dogs at home, and there was like a firework went off or something, and he jumped out of bed and I threw my arm out the sling
Yeah,
in like terror in the
forgot
first
about that.
week. So for peace of mind, I was convinced I'd retorn it, and then for peace of mind, we went back in. But yeah, everything was
Yeah,
fine. So
everything's fine. But yeah, ultimately, your range of motion came back probably quicker than what I expected. I thought we'd still be working on that kind of week 3 or 4. But ultimately, from you doing the strength work and putting the hard work in, although there's down days where you don't feel like doing what you need to do, that ultimately has stopped that reoccurring. Do you get any issues with the shoulder now?
no, not related to the pec. No, everything's been fine, which is really good. don't have any sort of pain or any range of motion issues with it, which is really good. That's probably something that I was a bit concerned about, to be honest. Was that happening? But yeah, no, everything's been fine. Touch wood.
What was the game where you came back? So was it the game after Wembley?
I've got a feeling it was Toulouse at home, maybe in summer. It was on like a Saturday night. It was the 1 or 2 after Wembley. Because I remember I spoke to Simon and he'd said like how are you feeling, what are the chances, and he sort of put it on me a bit. He sort of left it up to me whether I wanted to put my hand, not to be in the team, but to put my hand forward to be available for selection. And I think deep down we probably knew, like confidence wise, etc., for such a big game to come back a week or two early, it might not have been the best thing to do for the teams. Thinking with sort of your team first hat on, these lads have got us there, won the semi-final, are all fit and deserving of their spots. Not saying that I'd have been straight in. I just mean even me being, and on a selfish note, obviously wanted to be there and playing, but equally it probably wasn't the best thing for the team to even throw that sort of distraction in. So yeah, I think we all sort of came to a decision that it was probably the sensible thing to do to not jump back into that one.
Probably an answer that you might not even be able to give me this. Would your mindset have changed if they didn't win at Wembley?
I don't think so. No.
No.
I don't think it would have. I feel like it might have been. I might have been a bit more at ease with my decision if we didn't win. Like I feel like the fact that they won, that's what's given me like the spur. Obviously, I was buzzing for everyone, but equally watching all the lads go up to the top and lift the trophy, and me not being up there was like, this is heavy. I want to do this again. This gave me sort of a bit of fuel in the belly to want to achieve and win some silverware again. I think obviously I'm glad everything worked out and we made the right call for the boys and they got the win and we still had a great time and what a great day for the club that was. So
I missed that
good.
one.
Were you not there?
No, I got married. I got married on the Thursday night, and I set off on my honeymoon on I booked it over like the Challenge Cup weekend and things like that, thinking, right, we're probably not going to make Challenge Cup final. If we do, it's going to be an absolute miracle. I didn't even factor in the 1895 Cup final. And
all right, if we're doing hypothetical questions, do you wish that? Are you glad you got married on that day, or do you wish you were there for the Wembley final?
Depends who's going to watch this, doesn't it? Really. I think the wedding day, like I normally I wouldn't say I bothered, but my wedding day was class. And obviously then I had a 2-week honeymoon in the Dominican. I did get to watch it with a cigar and a rum and coke in a pool. And I actually took a Halifax Panthers shirt out with me and gave it to some random stranger who watched the game with us.
Nice.
So yes, have I got the opportunity to go down to Wembley again and work in Wembley?
Yeah.
Probably not. But I've had some other experiences in rugby that I'll never get back, which I'm grateful for. So I'll run the rough with the smooth with that one.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Good answer. Good answer.
So to be fair, the reason I'm asking you your game back, I don't think I was there for the game that you first came back. I don't think I was at your return game. I don't know because I'm sure you came back the week after that, and I was still on my honeymoon.
Right, so, maybe then might have been.
But what we want to dive into now is what's your feeling in the changing rooms when you've been selected? It's go time now. You're not practicing. You're not doing contact drills. You're not doing rehab. You're getting not thrown in the deep end because you're prepared for it. But what's going through your head there? Are you nervous? Are you apprehensive of re-injury? Or are you just like, look, I'm good to go now?
I think it's probably a bit of everything, a bit of all them things. I think excited because you're back doing what you love doing after a bit of a setback. Sort of a bit of pride in the fact that you've got through the tough 12 weeks prior and you sort of event your way back into the team. So that's probably the first thing. Yeah, definitely nerves about letting your teammates down. It's probably the biggest one. Not being up to the pace because obviously there's nothing you can really do to replicate the intensity of a rugby league match. So even training at high intensities and stuff, it just doesn't quite get close. So it's there's probably that. Just try not to let anyone down, not let your teammates down, not let your coach down because he's put faith in you and wanting to sort of hit the ground running again and getting back to finding a bit of form. It's probably the things that are going through your head.
What was it like going into that first bit of contact with your shoulder? Do you remember the
If
first tackle?
I can't really remember, to be honest. I don't think it's anything I've ever really been too fond of in my whole career, to be honest. Is contact. So I think, regardless of injury, it's not something I'm a massive fan of anyway.
It's better to break the line and put the ball down.
Yeah. I definitely prefer that side of the game. No, I think it was fine. Obviously, you do a lot of work in the weeks prior, building up your tolerance to contact and wrestling and stuff. So, yeah, it's. I feel like you're ready for it.
Did that setback or any other injury setback that you had, has it changed your approach to sport, changed your approach to preparation? Did it change you in any way, or have you just continued? I know you perform at a high level anyway. I know you take care of yourself, but has it changed anything in the background?
I think taking care of myself more is something that I've taken a lot more seriously in the last sort of 3-4 years anyway.
Yeah,
And just sort of trying to do everything in my power to put my best foot forward. Obviously, there's things that can't be helped, like tearing your pec is something that's hard to prepare. Like, some things just happen, but things that are in my control, I try and look after them as best I can, and sort of take a lot of accountability with what I'm eating, how I'm behaving outside of sport, outside of training, live my life day to day, try and do that accordingly with my sort of goals to stay fit and healthy and strong, etc. So, yeah, I think it's just trying to feed it all into the way you live your life, really. It all sort of ties in nicely.
it's something that you can't just switch on and off. You've got to live it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a 24-hour job, isn't it?
Is it? Is there any advice you can give to somebody then? Let's say somebody's having a shoulder operation in the next couple of weeks or had one. Is there any advice you could give them that could potentially help them with their comeback? Because some people are going to be in a bad mindset. Some people don't have therapists in the background like, say, you do in sport. Is there any advice you can give them to help them out?
I think the big one would be what we just sort of touched on then is it's a good time to get everything else in line, get everything else in order in terms of what you're eating. Are you fueling right to recover? I remember, like, I think JK was doing the S&C as well at the time, and he introduced me to making like collagen jelly, like obviously for ligament repair and ligament health and tendon health, etc. So, just like finding little ways you can enhance and aid and increase decrease recovery time, make it
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah.
Just, it's a good time to like reset, maybe a good chance to look at areas of your game you want to improve and watch video and delve into things that you might not have time to do, especially when you're playing part-time, when you're working and then you go into training on a night, squeezing it all into a pretty short time frame. It gives you a good opportunity to have a bit of a reset as well, mentally, set some goals short term, and like I said, yeah, definitely dial in and look after yourself away from training and what you're eating and how you feel to recover, etc.
Yeah. So it's also important, control the parts that you can control. If you're in pain after
Absolutely.
surgery, you're not going to be able to do the things you want to do, but fueling right, doing the little 1%ers, recover right, and ultimately those will compound and get you back a lot quicker. You have pointed something out to me there that I got it wrong. It wasn't Scott that helped with the rehab, it was JK. It was
Yeah, I
Mr.
think
John
it
Kelly.
was. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
JK.
So although
Yeah.
Scott was outstanding, John outstanding there as well. Hopefully,
Yeah, two very outstanding
he's
S&Cs.
gonna
Yeah,
be he'll be ringing me, throwing him under the bus. But yeah, perfect for that. We're gonna finish now anyway. Keezer, we'll cut that bit out. Okay,
yeah,
we're gonna
it's
finish
all
now on a
right.
little bit of a quick fire round. The only reason why I said that Crooksy then is because I messed up when I read these questions out, and he
Did
threw
you?
me under the bus. Yeah. What is your go-to pre-game ritual? Have you got one?
I like to get an iced coffee and iced latte on the way to a game.
No matter what the weather,
Yeah, even when it's cold. Yeah.
where are you getting one of them from? Or are you making one
Last year it
yourself?
was Java Joe's in Bradford. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Who's your sporting idol? Who is it that you look up to when you were younger or now?
Probably Jonathan Thurston when I was a kid. Obviously,
Okay.
same position. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're one of the best ever.
Did you have a chance to meet him? I know you've met some
I
NRL
think I met
stars.
him when I was about 14 or something at a World Cup game. I think I got a picture of him outside the stadium.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, touching on this, what was it like working with Luke Keary when you went to the World Cup?
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, got to share some great times with him, and obviously pick his brains, watch how he conducts himself at training and away from training, etc. So yeah, what an invaluable experience it was. Spending a month with him, yeah, it was class.
Perfect. After a game then, Keezer, if you could have any meal of your choice delivered to the changing room, what would you be getting?
So yeah, it's not what you'd think probably. Like since I've obviously got quite close with Collar and Kurt, they're very like they've opened my eyes to if you're depleting your body that much and putting your body through that much,
Yeah.
and then your first thing you put in your body after is like a horrible greasy takeaway. You're just kicking yourself while you're down. So
I've not looked at it that way.
they've got me on like the steak and veg and potatoes and that after a game, just like a really really clean, good meal with maybe a bit of avocado or something like some fat in there as well. Yeah, they've completely changed the game. I don't really crave a horrible takeaway after a game anymore. I like a nice steak or something. Yeah,
Lovely. Spoken like a true athlete there. I know
yeah.
a lot of players, it's a beer
True
and
as
some
well.
greaser, maybe one or two beers.
Yeah, no.
But
It
yeah,
used to be that. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but I just feel 10 times worse. So
yeah,
yeah,
which
it's changed
is
now.
true. I've not looked at it from that way. Obviously, you've depleted your body. If you're just going to pile it full of shit, then
Yeah,
you're probably not going to respond that well.
yeah.
But yeah,
But
perfect.
I used to live with Will Calcott, so it was pretty hard to not eat a big, greasy, horrible meal after a game with him living with me. So
Well, I can see that. I can see that happening. He loves to get. Hey, Gyros is kind of clean.
yeah. Not the
Yeah.
one from
What,
in
from the
town
spot in
though.
Halifax?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Little
all right then.
gyros box we used to get actually. Yeah,
Big ones. Lovely.
yeah.
Well, thank you,
Nice.
Keezy. Thank you for joining us. And thanks for sharing your journey rehabilitation wise, a little bit of background and a little bit of personal stuff from you there with what you would get up to pre-game and post-game. But yeah, I wish you good luck for the season. I'm going to try and get out to a few games, so keep an eye on your phone for tickets.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I know when you're coming because you'll be pestering me.
To be fair, there's a few players in that team that I know. You've assembled quite a decent squad going up.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for this year? Do you reckon
Excited, yeah. So far, so good in training with obviously the new coach Kurt. His style of play and stuff he wants us to do is really exciting and it's a bit different. It's it's exciting times. I think obviously been written off by a lot of people to start the year, but obviously we don't think that's the case, and we're excited to show people what's what.
Hull FC in round one, isn't it? Have you got Hull
Yeah, I
FC in
think
round one?
so. I think it is. Yeah, over in Hull. So getting to Grixie.
Get to Grixie. I met up with him the other day. That's how I know. But yeah, perfect. Right. Well, thanks for joining us, Keezer. It's been
thank you.
Been a good little chat, and again, good luck for the season, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
No
Good to catch up.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.